Welcome back to the channel, darlings. This one is all about Gyeon foam and their new 2021 formulation, which is supposed to have a lot more cleaning power. It's not going to be that difficult because the old one was useless. I have to say, I think my daughter's Johnson's bubble bath had more cleaning power than that. More than pH neutral, it was pH useless. But just comparing the new Gyeon one to the old one isn't that useful in the sense of like it should be better, right? But is it better than my favourite ones, or I say class leading ones, the offerings from Bilt Hamber? So I've got Touchless and Autofoam to compare them to as well. Cool. Let's see, shall we? Okay, let me talk to you about the test and explain how it's going to work first, so you understand what we're going to be looking at. Each of these products are diluted to their maximum strength. For Gyeon, that means it's 5:1 in the bottle, and this is a 500ml bottle, so 5:1 here is 83ml. That's the same for both of these, so 83ml of snow foam product. The Bilt Hamber products use panel impact ratio. So based on my pressure washer with my foam lance, with my trigger gun and my hose, to get a 5% panel impact ratio from Touchless, there is 363ml of Touchless in that bottle, and the rest is topped up with water to 500ml. And the other one that is Autofoam, that's 4% PIR, and that means there's 300ml of Autofoam in there. And again, all of this is heavily reliant on the equipment you're using for panel impact ratio. So mine is calculated off my setup, yours may be slightly different. So now I've got them measured out. You can see there's slightly different levels because I've been using them just to make sure they're all working okay. But they were originally all done to 500ml. Now we're looking at the back of the car. This is going to be, well, I've been suffering for my art because this is way dirtier than I'd ever let it get to normally. The things I do for YouTube and you lot. But because it's white, it seems like a good place to start the demonstration. What I'm going to do is spray on a stripe, 4 different sections of the different products across the back. Between each spray on, I am going to quickly flush the lance out, drawing from a cup of fresh water, and then go straight on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And then leave it to dwell for 3 minutes in total time from end, which will be Autofoam. Power wash it off and then look at the results. Then I'm going to up the ante by going to a dirtier vehicle and then up it again. But the white is going to be the easiest one to see it on to start with, and then we'll just see if those results are consistent across all the vehicles. And in terms of protection, this has got about 10-month-old Gyeon can coat on and recently topped up with Cure. I say recently, that was 5 to 6 weeks ago, which means the Cure is probably dead now as well. So it'll give you an idea. It's got a bit of protection, but it's on its way out, I think, is probably a fair place to say. So yeah, let's get on with it, shall we, and see what the results are. Alright, we're now 3 minutes later. You see through the dwell, Autofoam has done what Autofoam always does. It's got a lot of surfactant and it started to dissolve the dirt. And you can see this bit looks noticeably cleaner than anywhere else. But that's not the party trick of Touchless. That comes to, it loosens the dirt effectively, so when you blast it off, it will become clean. Now let's see if Touchless gets as clean as Autofoam and how close Gyeon Foam 2021 gets to it, and also just how useless the original formulation of Gyeon Foam was. Okay, well, it's pretty clear to me, at the very least, that this side is cleaner than this side,
2021 is a bit cleaner than the original formulation, but I tell you what, not by much. Let's have a little swipe through. Quick blast off that. And then let's compare that to the Bilt Hamber side. Obviously, pre-washing doesn't get everything off, but the Autofoam side is the cleanest of everything. Touchless is better than the Gyeon 2021, but Autofoam is better than Touchless, which has been consistent in my findings generally. So now let's go and up the ante, shall we? Something a bit dirtier. This is 2 months of road grime and waxed underneath. Alright, 3 minutes of dwell time later, let's have a look. Now, a little note down here, if we look at the foam, the side, the right hand side seems to be browner, and that's where the Autofoam and the Touchless was. You bring it back, let's rinse it off and see which is cleaner. He's coming up on the footage here a bit. Let's have a little play. Let's see if I can zoom in a tad. Here is definitely a clear stripe where the old Gyeon, the original formula was. It's done absolutely nothing. I kind of think this is roughly where the 2022 one as 2021 version is, and it's certainly better, but it's no way near as good as the Touchless in the middle or the Autofoam on the side. So, what can we tell? We can see further down where it's run down as well. Yeah, clearly the original formula didn't do a thing at all. So, what are we thinking about the new formula, Gyeon versus Touchless and Autofoam? I still don't think it's much cop in comparison. However, if this was 2 months and waxed, I've got a 6 month old, never cleaned Motorway Road Warrior Tesla, and I'm going to do the back of that. That would be the ultimate test. Alright then, 6 month old Tesla, never been washed, Motorway Road Warrior, does hundreds of miles a week. Let us see where we get to with this one then. Okay, that's been 3 minutes of dwell. So you've got quite a lot of mud drifting off in the foam on the floor, and you saw when I was applying it, the wind was kind of blowing it across. So you've got original formula Gyeon here, 2021 here and kind of going across, Touchless here kind of going across, and then we've got Autofoam on the edge. Before we do this, I think Autofoam will be the best one. Let's see. Ooh, now this is interesting. You can kind of see this. I'm going to bring you in close for a second. It's a bit darker over here, isn't it? That's definitely dirtier. It is definitely dirtier. So anything from here onwards, which was Bilt Hamber, is good, regardless of which one it is. Yeah, wow, okay. Gyeon foam just isn't that good, even the new stuff. Let's see if we can capture this. Let's see. I might have to take a still in a minute. There we go. Now I can see this. Can you? That is the real question. That's where I started the impact on it, and you can see. Yeah, there it is. Change the light colour. So it's there, obviously, the swipe thing, it's not going to get rid of all of the dirt, clearly, but wow. In the Gyeon side, and this was the 2021 part here, still not a patch on the Bilt Hamber.
So, in conclusion, what have we learned? Well, one thing to understand first is the relative pH levels of those products on the panel. So, for the Gyeon foam 2021, it had a pH of around 8 or 9, according to my test strips. I think it's near at 8. So it's near enough pH neutral, which probably explains why it does pH all. Touchless was, I think it was pH 10 on the panel for me, and Autofoam was about pH 11, pH 12. It's closer to 11. It's just difficult to tell when you've got those touch strips. I'd say it was 11. So clearly the Bilt Hamber options are more alkaline and therefore they're more potent, which also means they're not very wax safe. So if you've got a waxed vehicle, then maybe the Gyeon is the one to use, but it's just the same as any other pH neutral foam in that experience. I mean, yeah, it's marginally better than the previous version, so it has some cleaning power, but still not much. What I find interesting is that's come from Gyeon as a coatings company, but coatings have no problem with touchless or Autofoam. I've never seen them cause them any issues, so I'm quite surprised. And I would still say use touchless or Autofoam and just use them at a lower panel impact ratio, if you're worried about that. Because the lower the panel impact ratio, the lower the pH level, because it's more diluted and therefore it will be less damaging. I still say they would shift more, and maybe that's a future video I could do. Let's say Autofoam is the better of the two. I think in my opinion it probably is. It's more consistently useful across more products and more cars, sorry. So maybe I could do that at different impact ratios and see how it compares to something like the Gyeon foam or another product. But then John over at Forensic Detail has done quite a lot of testing of those at different panel impact ratios. So maybe just watch one of his videos. If I can find the one I'm thinking of, I'll put it as a card up here. As for me, yeah, I'm going to stick with the Autofoam. Of the two Bilt Hamber products, it's Autofoam for me. Touchless does have its place, and you can see it works differently. I think it basically breaks down the bonds in the dirt. It doesn't necessarily pull them off it, but when you blast it off, they come off. Therefore, it's actually very, very good in wheel arches. So maybe I'll keep some of that and just use it in a pump sprayer for wheel arches. But as an overall car body cleaner, I would rather use Autofoam, personally. That's up to you entirely. What did you think of the test? I think that was the best way I could think of testing it on real life cars as well, as I always tried to do. But let me know in the comments if you think there's a better way of testing it. I'm not going to ask you to tell me what other products you want tested, because I have to buy all these products myself. And I'm going to tell you now, the next two that I'm going to do in comparison to the Bilt Hamber ones, maybe just Autofoam, we'll see, is the Garage Therapy one and the G-Technique one. So the good thing I've noticed is Gyeon, G-Technique and CarPro all have these sample kits that you can buy, so you don't have to spend a lot of money to sample a lot of different products, which is cool. And that's what I've done. I've got a G-Technique one, which has just turned up, so I'm pleased about that. I'm going to buy some of the Garage Therapy snow foam and see where we get to. So that's for a future video. No promises on when that was coming up. I've got some other stuff to do first. But thank you very much for watching. I hope it was informative, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.